Excuse me.
Yeah?
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
I've seen daytime television that was funnier.
I love it when the little guys get hyped.
That figures.
Custard pies, hose pipe down the pants, then smack! A plank in the kisser.
You ever meet a guy called Plantar?
No, I ain't.
You missed your chance. If you're quick, you'll catch him at the coroner's. Do you happen to know a guy named Khan?
That ain't nobody I know.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
Is this a trick question?
No. I simply asked if you recognized him.
Okay then. No, I don't.
Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
Nope.
Do you recognize this tissue? Think carefully now.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
I'm gonna have to hurry you.
ooh.
Time's up, so I'll tell you. It's a used tissue with a liberal dump of Bestheimer's number 12.
If you say so.
Shake my hand.
Nah.
Oh, rats. See you later.
Not if you see me first.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
No, I never saw it.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be funny?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No, that name means nothing to me.
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and...
I told you, I don't know it.
Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
No.
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
What does this tissue mean to you?
Are you serious?
Oh, yes. Take a good look at the substance it's smeared with.
You are sick. Very sick.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
What does this clown's nose suggest to you?
In my country, we have no use for clowns.
I'm glad to hear it.
They were dealt with most severely in the last cultural cleansing.
What about the mimes? Did you get them too?
All gone. Our streets are mime-free.
Sounds like heaven. Do you know a guy called Plantar?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organises fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honour. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You are trying to steal that key, no?
No way. I want some information.
Who are you, the police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
It's Merlin, isn't it? Alias Khan, the clown.
I told you, I cannot tell you that.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I'd noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
Do you recognize this red nose?
No, monsieur.
Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
The door was locked. If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The sign on the door read 22. The door was locked.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I ought to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
The door was locked. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. As Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed. I flipped the pants over. I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I found nothing in the pocket. I turned the pants over again. There was nothing in the pocket. A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back up with strong thread and a special stitch. I couldn't do that. The pocket was empty. I couldn't do that. The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling color and the words Club Alamut